So here we are in game number 2. Hydra needs to tie it up if he wants to stay alive in this series. Hydra is the Orzoon player in the blue. Down in the bottom left, though, we have our red player, Mixu, playing Ajari for their Immortal pick. Again, it's a Karath versus Karath matchup. So same faction, but different Immortal, which, of course, for those of you who are maybe joining us a little bit new to the game, it does change what sort of overall global spell-like abilities the players have access to. And it does change a couple of the units in the army too, so something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so very baseline example, Orzoom having the Zentari tanky units that get the added benefit of out of hollow ground getting a ranged attack, but just also having to invest a little bit more alloy to compensate for that bulk. Alternatively, on the side of Ajari, like we've seen played to such incredible mastery, the Sapari, the spear for added range, and of course the ability to tech into their upgrades and get that extra added speed is very crucial to making proactive plays in the early game.
Absolutely. And speaking of that early game, we see players using their little teapot scouts to try to see what the other one is up to. A little bit of each scout has a little bit of an attack that can only hit other scouts, so you can do a little bit of a scout to scout combat, which right now Hydra is winning this 1v1. But the idea is this: you need to see what's going on, right? You need to see some of those early tech buildings. You need to see if there's an early expansion coming out. There's a Legion Hall being built now for Hydra, so you can imagine a couple of Zentari are going to be on the way soon. It's actually the second Legion Hall. Oh, it gets canceled. So as soon as Mixu was out of view, it got canceled. But did he just start another one, or was that a tech building? I'd love to go back and see that, actually. That might have been a little bit of a mix. Oh, it was a tech building. So that's a bit of a misdirection from Hydra to try to lead Mixu into thinking a different early composition is coming.
Yeah, we're going to go and start to look to see once that tech building is finished, looking to itemize into some Zephyrs. So again, using that wind step, the extra added micro capability that we're so used to seeing Hydra excel at, but also utilize that front to back sort of playstyle, tanky frontline in the Zentari, but also the added DPS buff from those ranged units with the Zephyrs. So looking to see a more traditional, I guess, team fight mechanics that you'll see in some other titles. But how to see is how does Mixu utilize this added movement from the early investment into Sapari to take the tempo away from Hydra?
Right. So for now, just a little bit of the early Pyre camps being taken. You can see it's pretty common to pull some of those mobs back into the existing towers just to save some HP on your early units. You never know when you're going to need that in the skirmishes. But double teapot scout coming in.
Yeah, potential for another snipe, but does not quite have the timing there. And again, just 2 Zentari needed to take that whole camp down, especially with the added tower damage. So great micro play coming out from both players. It seems like that might be the meta on this map moving forward. So have to see if that's healthy for the game, or I think it's important to see and distinguish some outer lying gameplay to see and optimize your early game. So love to see that the players are looking for unconventional ways to get that early Pyre as quickly as possible.
You need to get out there and get that Pyre. If you don't have those Immortal abilities available, especially if you're a player like Mixu that really relies on them, you're in big trouble, right? And you do see that Pyre kind of being banked here too. Hydra used a bit of it, I believe, to build another tower, although we didn't get a glimpse of that. Meanwhile, Mixu just banking it, right? Because a lot of those Ajari Immortal abilities are going to be used in combat. It's not going to be more setup type stuff.
So Dervish getting developed on both sides of the map, as well as looked like some Zephyrs as well. So Saoshin as for the side of Mixu, Dervish for the side of Hydra.
All right, here we go. The action looks like it might be starting here in a moment. A little bit of a Dervish, Zephyr, Zentari. It looks like those units from Mixu are on the run a little bit. So they try to defend this tower.
Tower is being developed. The Dervish with the AoE damage going to add some help, but again, the healing coming from the Saoshin, just giving that that kite ability. So extra added effective EHP plus the extra range going to be really incredible for helping with the micro. But great focus fire down from the Dervish, and it looks like they should be able to take down this tower as well.
Those Dervishes do so much in melee. It's an AoE melee hit, right? So if you get close, you're going to get cleaved pretty quickly, right? And then you add the focus fire of the Zephyr behind that. It's pretty deadly.
And the tower will be taken down by Hydra. And there's definitely some low HP units that are going to push the pressure Dervish, frontline, AoE damage. Zentari with the bulk. Zephyrs with the AoE splash damage with that ranged auto attacks. DPS, tank, and maneuverability. All of those key factors being taken into account. And we have some huge damage here on some of these structures on the expansion.
I mean, I thought we were in for a longer game here, and we still might be, but this is a lot of aggression coming in from Hydra early on here. Those Zephyrs getting chased down a little bit now by the Sapari, but as soon as they turn, just look at the HP bars just get chunked.
The micro from the Dervish.
Yeah, I mean, you just do a little bit of stutter stepping, and I'm a little bit surprised that Mixu committed their units to that fight, because now your worker line is in huge trouble.
One Absolver has been developed.
But he's like, no, why did you build me only to die?
Looks like it's not getting focus fired quite fast enough. We got to take down those Dervish.
Wait, no, okay, come on, you could have taken it.
Traded down.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, the Scepter comes in to finish off. I think that's a Scepter, right? Did I get that right? I think I did.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
Scepter gonna go ahead and deal some damage. Nothing to combat it
no
quite yet. Those Absolvers can't touch it. That's a lot of free damage here. And immediately looking to try to get some Dervish out to combat the rest of this aggression. But the Scepter gonna take down all of these Absolvers. Run him down.
That is awful.
Run him down.
Oh, a little bit of healing comes in. Can he keep the Absolver alive? That's
wow,
such a big
he's
investment.
alive.
Yeah, that's huge actually for Mixu that the Absolver lived there. Scary moment.
No, it cannot be ignored in that last fight. The micro space, the micro ability of the Dervish AoE attacks. You saw if you can go back and get a replay and slow it down. All of those cones were hitting every single unit, adding so much added splash damage, and that's just proof in the pudding of how dominant the micro talent and ability it is coming out from Hydra, just being able to maximize all this damage from these Dervish.
Right. So, Hydra's saying, all right, well, I can get rid of your anti-air if I send the Dervish in, but Mixu ready with some reinforcements, so that's not going to work out, and Hydra does need to fall back. So we're going to enter into a little bit more of a little bit of a lull in the action for the moment, I think.
Trying to look to push the advantage here. Hydra has yet to get pressured on any of his expansions. Just proactive play and just all off the back of just being a mechanical god, microing those Dervish, having so much agency on the map to expand and tech into anything that he sees fit. Call Heaven's Eight, not Heaven's Aegis. Oh my goodness. Orzu protecting the tower.
There you go.
We're gonna go ahead and add to that pressure. Just gonna
Empire
take that
Unbroken, down. I think it is.
Yes.
I'm terrible with the names, by the way, still. So don't take my word for it.
I just completely. It is Empire Unbroken.
I'm learning.
Completely blanked there. I had it in my brain. It was like right on the tip of my tongue, but I was just looking at some Ajari abilities. Ugh. Oh,
welcome to being a caster. Yep.
It happens. It definitely happens.
Yep. All right. So it's really all about the center of the map control right now for these two players, right? Removing turrets, removing Pyre, trying to make sure that you have the ability to push across the map safely and stealthily too. The less information you can give to your opponent, the better. That Absolver getting a little bit caught unawares. Two Absolvers there, actually, one on the run.
Go ahead and deploy and try to add some splash, and here come the reinforcements. Empire Unbroken. Oh, not going to quite go down, but will go ahead and take down that tower, add some extra Pyre into the pocket of Hydra. Hydra with the Dervish once again, pushing back that force of Sapari, Saoshin, and one Absolver.
Yeah, luckily for Mixu, the reinforcements were there. But overall, it's still a matter of just sort of like slow expansion, a little bit of harassment here. Yeah, you see the one Scepter in there, just trying to be annoying. It's going to do a bit of damage and go out. It was trying to take out some of the moats, some of the workers there before it flies away to safety. But for the most part, it looks like we are going to be in for a bit of a longer game here.
Yeah, and we're seeing that due to some of the posturing that we're seeing from Hydra. Hydra building a kind of immeasurable fortress, adding an extra tower on top of that hill, building up their stockpile of Dervish, building up their stockpile of Zephyrs as well, teching into a huge front-to-back dominant team combination here. And probably we'll look to see some air superiority in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hydra's playing this right? Where Hydra kind of played into Mixu's hands in game number 1 a little bit, where they let themselves take too much damage from that early harass, from that aggressive hit and run technique that Ajari is so good at. If you can deny that and just build up, a lot of times Orzum will just be straight up stronger in the late game, right? So I think that's what Hydra's plan is play late, get that big, massive max out army, and then try to take advantage of those late game Immortal abilities being a bit better. But again, Mixu knows that harassment needs to come in.
Empire
Hydra trying to
coming
defend the
down.
buildings. Right, exactly. And all right,
Salvation as well.
later. Deliver from evil. Mixu gets his units to safety, but a bit of damage was done. Building was lost, and Hydra, you know, didn't take huge losses, but took a bit, right?
I mean, Hydra still has the priority on damage. The bulk of the tug-of-war style damage graph here is still on the side of Hydra, but those Absolvers on the back line, plus the added mobility and range from the Safari, are going to be able to swing that damage graph back towards a red favor. But the Dervish, again, the Dervish micro, putting in a huge chunk of damage on that frontline Safari. And we're going to have to kite back to a little bit of safety, look to find a way, maybe focus fire down this Absolver. Not quite going to be able to take it down. Saoshin adding that extra health and a healing coming down. And it looks like the Ancient will be claimed by Mixu.
Yeah, just enough healing to keep that Absolver alive, and you can't stand against an Absolver when it's sieged up like that for more than just a moment or two. And there you go, Ancient taken out by Mixu, and so that means that little advantage is going to come to them for a bit here.
And I cannot imagine a more scary player to give a big ol' sack of Pyre to than Mixu. Mixu, so much effective use of the abilities, and Pyre is the name of the game. It seems that Hydra's built up a pretty strong defensible structure. Throne superiority, throne gaming here coming out for the side of Hydra, but is it enough to defend against the big stack of 250 Pyre and an aggressive assault force coming over this eastern hill?
Yeah, I mean, Hydra, you can see trying to tech to that big unbeatable late game army. But if you don't get there, if the Ajari player doesn't let you get there, you're going to be in big trouble
from
either
evil.
way.
We're out of there.
Yeah, it's going to be all right. But again, more buildings taken. So Hydra just a little bit slowed down. But you know what? That's 5 thrones. This army is starting to get so scary for Hydra that I don't know if Mixu can fight this head-to-head.
Yeah, the thrones are going to be a huge factor pushing into the late game. Sentinels need to be prioritized in the next couple minutes. Otherwise, these thrones are just going to push their way into the enemy's natural and cause a huge amount of havoc.
Yeah, I mean, thrones are just such a huge amount of like air to ground damage. They are the pretty much the ultimate air unit for Karaf. Yeah, I mean, you're going to need those Castigators because they are one of your strongest ground to air options as Karaf. But, you know, Absolver's coming in too. If you can get some units out in front of the throne, like Hydra's doing right now, the Castigators can't get there.
I love this aggressive positioning from the Zephyrs.
Yeah,
like you're saying, completely pushing the Castigators away. And those Castigators, if they're able to just lock their feet in and start free firing on those thrones, the splash damage would evaporate them. But the aggressive positioning, pushing back those Castigators, gives the thrones the ability to free fire onto this bulky city, and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, you can see him chasing down those Castigators. That is the biggest air-to-air threat. See him microing one throne back there as well. And the thing is if you're Hydra, you know, maybe you can end the game right here, but you don't necessarily have
one
to.
Throne goes down.
Oh, I don't know about this. That's a lot of thrones, but if Hydra loses this, if he loses those thrones, he's in massive trouble. He's got to win this fight or back off before he loses too much.
All right, they're focus firing down the Castigators. Castigators have to fall. Castigators have already dealt with 3 thrones. Make it 4. Still airing down. Great micro. Look at this kiting. Looking like a League of Legends AD carry. Can he get out? Salvation and Deliver from Evil will narrowly save that Castigator.
Nice.
Just narrowly on a sliver of HP.
Oh no, but here come the thrones again. The construct's coming back soon. More thrones on the way from Hydra. It's just mass thrones at this point, about as mass as it gets, right? Because these are extremely expensive units. The Castigators trying to, or kind of pinch there a little bit. Ajari in the mix as well to try to keep the Castigators alive, but that's going to be a little bit too big. And we have a tie series here as Hydra takes game 2.